This conference will now be recorded.
Kavya Sudha.
Yes, sir. A warm afternoon to HOD ma'am, professors, and my dear friends. Now I would like to welcome our guest, Mr. Ananda Krishnan Garu, for today's webinar on advanced networking. Who are an experienced person as a programmer in Ascent Technologies, CSC Wipro for 2 years, and a telecom support engineer in General Motors for 2 years. And also, sir worked with HCL Technologies as a specialist for 9 years. At present, Mr. Mr. IT analyst in TCS. And the Krishnan analyst SC Garu working as an analyst since 5 years onwards. We are fortunate enough to participate in this webinar, sir, and it will be useful for our bright future. Now we are eagerly waiting to listen your valuable information, sir.
Thank you, Kavya, for the introduction. Hello, all. Thanks for joining the session, and it's my great pleasure to share my knowledge with you guys. So today we are going to talk about the next generation in networks, what we have, and we'll cover about some basics of what is networks and what we are going to talk about today. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the data networks and the unified communication in the next generation networks. Shankar sir, can you please move on to the next slide? Yeah. And what is networks, and what are all we have in networks, and in networks what we are in advanced, especially the software defined WAN topology, as well as the collaboration teams. Okay. What is networks? So hope you in your syllabus you would have learned about computer networks. What is computer networks? Where a group of computers can be linked to each other and can communicate with one another for data and application connectivity. Then there are 4 types of computer networks, where are local area networks, personal area networks, metropolitan area networks, and the wide area networks. And the local area networks is within your home, within your small locations, where within your building or within an office, where you can connect your desktop or your laptop with a LAN cable, where you can share your files and share your communication within the same office. And whereas the personal area networks is with your personal belongings, like your mobile phone or your tab, or else like your printer, where you can connect to your within your wireless connectivity. Those are all called personal area networks. Example, in your home, if you're having a broadband connection and you have been connecting your mobile phone and your laptop and your printer through a Wi-Fi connection, those are all called personal area networks. Next slide. Yeah, this is how the local area connection and the personal area connections are being connected. Okay, and the next one is metropolitan area networks and the wide area networks, where metropolitan area networks is within an organization in a country, where, for example, examples are banking sectors and government sectors have been using the metropolitan area network, where within a state or within a country, where they can communicate with their networks through metropolitan connectivities. And whereas in wide area network, where you can connect globally across all countries through these connections. Any questions on this? What basics of networks, guys?
Sir.
Your voice is not feasible. Hello.
They said no doubt, Anand.
Okay, thank you. So yeah. So in in networks today we are mostly concentrating on WAN networks uh, where our especially our corporate companies have been utilizing these WAN networks for connecting the clients and the customers. So what is WAN? So as I described earlier, WAN is connecting your companies, your companies globally, because all IT sectors have been connected through globally, and the employees have been working globally nowadays. So we have WAN topology where we connect through MPLS circuits. MPLS in the sense means multi protocol label switching. This WAN topology been connected through these MPLS circuits only in across world, where it required a dedicated circuits, similar like your home internet connection, home phone connections. Likewise, for companies and all, we have been transferring data um, uh, across globe. So MPLS circuits plays a major role to have a connectivity with global. And in traditional WAN circuit, in traditional WAN circuit in the sentiment, and in the past years, we use these WAN circuits with the MPLS connectivity to communicate with other locations and other countries. And in current situations, and we have been moving on to SD-WAN, which is called hybrid WAN wide area network. And with this hybrid wide area network, we can communicate with each other in a much faster way with a reduced cost. Why it is a reduced cost in the sense means in MPLS circuits are more cost and require some more reliability because all countries does not have a good MPLS vendors. MPLS vendors in the sense means in your home and all we will be using, for example, in our country we have been using Airtel broadband and Act. Those are all the broadband companies who are providing internet release lines. But for the MPLS circuit, we have only limited vendors like Orange Business Services and TCL, which is called Tata Communication Limited. Those are all the companies have been providing MPLS circuits for connecting the internet connections or else broadband or else the data connections within the companies. But in once we got to the hybrid wide area network, which is called SD-WAN topology, where we can use our local internet connection itself, like our home internet connections with considered bandwidth. In home and all, we used to have 5 MB circuits or 10 MB circuits and all. And in companies, we have been using 100 MB internet release line circuits to connect with the other location sites. So, and the cost of the internet release lines are lesser than the MPLS circuits, and so these connections are more secure when we have a policy defined in the network, and we can these are all been connected through a cloud which has been hosted in the cloud, and the servers have been maintained over the cloud only. So we can communicate to the clouds directly instead of going to for example, in WAN circuits, you need to connect to your server, to your data center through MPLS circuits, and which needs to be more longer. For example, if your data center located in Delhi and you need to connect the servers, one of the servers in Delhi location. So you need to have a good bandwidth to connect from Chennai to Delhi. But when it comes to SD-WAN, and the server when in SD-WAN the servers have been hosted in the cloud, and you can directly connect to the servers via cloud and internet service, and with your good internet service. So that's why, and SD-WAN topology is much faster than the WAN topology. Okay. And when comes to the security, the transfer of the data transfer between the two locations is more secure when compared to traditional WAN, because in traditional WAN we required additional features, kind of a WAN optimization or else a firewall, which requires data security, to do a file transferring or else to do a communication to do with the other location. But when it comes to the SD-WAN, and those are all connected to a cloud, and cloud provides more secure connections, and they have a secured infrastructure in the cloud itself, and if there is any problem, if for example, if there is any internet connectivity issue, or also MPLS circuit issue, you cannot able to communicate with your data center. If anything, like in a real-time scenario, if the data center had a power outage, for example, if the data center had a power outage, and you will lose the communication with the servers. But in cloud, and the cloud, when there is any problem with there is no problem with the internet with the power connectivity. But then if there is any problem with the hardware connectivity, we have a reliability, and it will automatically switch over to the next hardware resources via in the cloud, and the connections will stay alive. So that's why we are in current scenario, all organizations are moving to the SD-WAN topology to communicate with each clients or each locations. Is there any problem with your screen, sir? Because
What, Ananda?
Is there any problem with your screen? Because I could see some scrambled screen.
No. Just a moment. I will check.
Okay. Any questions as of now, students?
Can I ask if you have any questions, students? Now is this okay, Ananda?
Oh, now it is fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on to next. No, next slide, sir.
Yes.
The performance and the flexibility between the SD-WAN and the MPLS, which is SD-WAN versus WAN, where for MPLS or else for WAN connection, we need a fixed bandwidth, which means when we go with your infrastructure, we need to just calculate how much of bandwidth you require for your infrastructure. It could be one TV circuit, or else 500 MB or 500 MB circuit, that you need to be decided before you procure the MPLS circuit. Whereas in SD-WAN, the connectivity is more flexible, because with your 500 MB or with your 100 MB internet lease line itself, you can accommodate your your data center or a company performance. Or if you need any higher bandwidth, you can just uh, request your vendor, and the activation would be soft upgrades only. There is no need of any physical connection requirement. You can just request your vendors and upgrade your bandwidth, whatever you require in SD-WAN. But whereas in MPLS, we need based on the bandwidth of your request, they will be laying cabling, which means a fiber cable for the connectivity, so which requires more time and more cost as well. So that's why the current technology is moving on to SD-WAN topology. And the next one is MPLS is inflexible due to in many places we don't have MPLS service providers, whereas we have many providers to provide internet lease line connections. So with this only, SD-WAN is more flexible and more agnostic. Okay. And in MPLS, if you require, if you're in MPLS connections and all, for a network connectivity or else for voice connectivity, we need to have a dedicated bandwidth allocated for different. For example, in in MPLS connection, there are three classes. One is data classes, where all your data related connectivities to be allocated, to be passed in that connection. And voice class, where all your voice related, for a phone calls between your one location to another location, those phone calls will allocate with that bandwidth only. And video classes, data class, voice class, and video class. And for example, in an MPLS circuit, for example, 500 MB circuit. If you procure a 500 MB circuit, and in that 500 MB circuit, you need to provide allocation based on your requirement. For example, 30% for data, 30% for voice, and the remaining 40% for video, where it requires more data because of the bandwidth, because video requires more bandwidth than the data and voice class. So we in MPLS we need to segregate and have a fixed bandwidth for all these classes. But whereas in SD-WAN, there no need to segregate your classes, or no need to segregate your applications. You can allow all your classifications in the DAS circuits, where it takes whichever the mission critical application, it takes the primary locations, and allocates the voice class or the video classes based on their needs only, based on their needs. But whereas in MPLS, we need to have a dedicated segregation. That's why SD-WAN is more reliable and more trustable one. So that's all on the MPLS SD-WAN connections, or SD-WAN topology. And moving on to unified communications. Unified communication refers to a phone system that integrates with your multiple communication methods within your business. Multiple communication in the sense called phone calls, or video calls, conferencing, and instant messaging, email services, and fax services. In every organization, nowadays in every organization, they used to have all these features together. Why? Because it is easy for them to communicate each other, and they can have a more efficient way of communication in the businesses. Because instead of communicating via email for each and everything, they can just make a call to your associates in your company, and close up your conversation or close up your task over the calls, or else via instant messaging you can just clarify your doubts. The instant messaging in the sense called a chat like your WhatsApp or WeChat kind of features called instant messaging in companies. And email is, as you all know, email communication via Google, Gmail or a company-related applications email. And video conferencing is for long distance communications kind of things. The benefits of the unified communications, where but it gives a better productivity, where you can connect with the teams and they can feel most comfortable and using any device or any medium they choose. For example, you can connect teams. Teams is called collaborative. There are teams which provides more collaboration features of both of all five features, where you can use for instant messaging, and we can use for voice or video calling, or else we can use for video conferencing and sharing and file sharing with your colleagues in your organization or with your clients in your organization. And in nowadays we can install these applications on your mobile applications, or else your tab devices, and you can communicate with your colleagues with a more reliable way. That's why it gives more productivity, sorry, better productivity, better productivity with the most comfortable way. And reduced cost. Unified communication nowadays available in a reduced cost, whereas in older days and all, we used to have a dedicated server for all these functions. For messaging, we need to have a dedicated server. For voice, we need to have a dedicated server, and for video, we need to have a dedicated servers, and for file sharing also, we need to have a dedicated server, and it requires more cost. It's called we require more cost in earlier days, but in modern days we can host all these application via in the cloud, and we can have in the cloud, and accessibility is also very easy in nowadays. That's why the cost is reduced instead of having these servers on their premises. And stronger performance, because employees can communicate and collaborate with the instant messaging or else via the phone call. The solutions and the customer problems can be fixed in a faster and improved business way. So that's why it is stronger performance and enhanced user performance. And good UC, in good unified communication platform, employees can reduce their traveling. For example, they can reduce turnover time of your organization, and by giving up more freedom to your work. And more freedom to work in the sense means you can communicate to your clients or to your employees via this chat application, or else in the voice application to other colleagues, and close your business needs as soon as possible. So that's why it provides more enhanced experience in the unified communication. So move on to the next slide. We have discussed all about this here. Yeah. Moving on to, and we'll see what are all the features which we had discussed earlier. So voice over IP. So voice over IP in the sense called voice over internet protocol, where you can use the IP telephony system for making calls to your colleagues internally. No need. It does not require any call cost. Because it is a free of costing. Within your organization, you can call your colleagues with free of cost using our internet release name or our WAN topology. So we know in earlier days and all, we used to have plain old telephony lines. As you have seen, or in your childhood days, we used to have landline phones, right? So those we now in nowadays we don't use those landlines. In very few very few houses only you can see those landline phones. But in nowadays all have been using mobile phones for better way of communication. And if you and in that voice over IP in one of the real time application for voice over IP is our WhatsApp calling, whereas you can call your friends outside India, uh, outside India with your WhatsApp, and you can have easy conversation. Okay. The same is applicable for the video features as well. You can have a video call with your friends in outside India with your internet, with your good internet. No need of additional cost for your mobile carrier. So those are in when it comes to our company standard, we used to have video calling or video conferencing with our business clients, and for that we have been using this unified communication tool for connecting with our clients. But in example, in our current scenario, in our pandemic situation, and most of the clients have been located in many countries, and for any business meetings, we no need to travel to the business to the client location. We can have a video conferencing call. So with this video conferencing features, we can reduce travels, and we can increase our productivity and support humanized remote working natures. Moving on to next. Messaging. Instant messaging is a common component in user experience, while in agile world, where people can have a real-time communication and interaction with web and mobile apps, and file sharing solutions have been provided in the messaging services. And when it comes to the file sharing, in earlier days and all, when you want to share a file, you need to send via email, or else you need to have a file transfer protocol to send a file to another colleague or to another location. But in the current situation, in our current world, we can use the same application called Teams. We have a lot of applications to support for this unified communications that will come in next slide. You can use those applications to share your files, or you can share a large number of files, large size files in these applications as well. So, and using our SharePoint, there is a feature which is hosted in the Microsoft called SharePoint, where you can store your applications, store your data over there, and you can collect those applications in wherever you go. For example, you don't need to carry your laptop, or if you store your files in this SharePoint location, and when you go and access the same link in your new location. For example, if you're traveling from India to an America, and where where you are not carrying your laptop, and you have stored your files in the SharePoint locations, and when you go there, when you go to US and you're accessing your SharePoint location with your email open, and there you can able to access your files there. So no need to carry your laptop and travel with your data. So those features have been provided in the collaboration features. So those are more reliable in nowadays. The last slide, and these are all the best collaborated softwares in the market, where we have Microsoft Teams, which with provides more where many companies have been using Microsoft Teams and Cisco Wex Teams, where it gives more reliable application experiences. And some other applications kind called Zoom and Google Workspace. And in Facebook also we have collaborating tools called Workspace, which gives best software solutions. And Avaya, Cisco are all the market expertise applications who provide best software solutions for team connectivity. And that's all for the day, students. And any common questions to ask me? Hello.
Students, if you have any queries, you can ask. If you have any queries, you can ask. There is a question, how can we use artificial intelligence in networking?
Yeah, artificial intelligence, in other words, called automation features. In current world, we have many features. In earlier days and all, for all application, for all server handling, we used to have a dedicated resources. And with your AI, with your artificial intelligence, we have many servers have been hosted through cloud, which who provides automation solutions, and where we no need to have manual requirements. You can just import your data over there and execute your application. So automatically with your code, with your developed code, the human works can be simplified over there.
Any other doubts?
How to improve network efficiency? Network efficiency, you need to have a good infrastructure to have efficiency. For example, the primary efficiency to have a good network is your firewall, where the firewall provides more security for your data as well as for your infrastructure, even for a software, for an application that you are working. It requires security, because anyone can access your links or your data go through the internet. When you have a good firewall on your infrastructure, and the external hacker cannot able to enter into your organization without the security key. So you need to have a secure infrastructure to have a network efficiency. Because if you have a secure firewall, and the bandwidth whichever you have is secure. Because for example, in our organization, we have a VPN connection, a Cisco VPN connection, or else a Global Protect VPN connection, where we need to access the applications, or else on a URL. A real-time example is called before this meeting, I cannot able to access this global meet, because our company is not allowed to use the global meet, because we have been allowed to use only few applications where those are all considered as a secured one, where we cannot able to they cannot able to get through these apps and loot out your applications, or loot out your documents, loot out your data from your laptop. For that, we need to have a good secure system called firewall or a firewall. You need to have a good firewall system. Hope
So
I
what?
answered that.
Yeah. What is sneaker net?
Sneaker net? I have not heard about this.
Oh, okay.
I need to have more knowledge on that.
Yes. Either dot, guys. In a network that contains 2 servers and 20 workstations, where is the best place to install an antivirus program?
Antivirus plays a major role in all your PCs because you need to have the antivirus in the in all your desktops, and also have a secure server.
Yeah, from students, any more questions? Please, to be frank, you can ask the question. Anantu, can you share the job opportunities of the network people in the industry? What are the opportunities are there are available in the market for the network engineers?
Yes, I can share. So, yeah, I can share. Currently, we in our industries, in many industries, they have been looking for the cloud-based solutions only. So if you learn the cloud-based applications in the networks, and you can survive, you can get into in the current industry, because all our companies have been looking for the advanced features. So the cloud-based solutions uh, is needed. You need to have an additional knowledge on that. The examples of cloud-based solutions are all, as one of the students had mentioned, artificial intelligence, where you can have Python. You need to have a Python, Ansible, um, Cisco cloud platforms, and AWS, where Amazon Web Services. Those are all the primary needs in nowadays, where you can just learn and develop your knowledge in that. Yeah. Why? Because in cloud-based solutions and all, we can have less infrastructure cost. Because we can host a server in the AWS, in the cloud services, and you can just start up your server. But whereas in earlier days and all, we need to buy a hardware and required resources, required application-based resources for that server, and get installed that application, and get activated for your accessibility. But in cloud-based solutions, you can just define what are all your requirements, and just based on your requirements, it automatically generates or automatically creates a server for you and provides accessible to run your application. So learn the cloud-based solutions, GCS, AWS, or Azure, and there are many other cloud-based services have been available in the market. You just learn those services, and that gives more visibility for the companies.
Thank you, Anandu. Thank you. Thanks for your wonderful presentation, and spend your own time for clarifying our doubts. And there is a question from another student. Getting CCNA cyber OPS certification helps to get a job.
Yeah, that gives some more additional value for your profile. CCNA collaborate cyber certification gives more valuable for your profile when any selectors chose. So it's good it really helps for your job. So just learn any base. I would prefer going for a CCNA. I would prefer go for a cloud-based certification. CCNA and CyberOps and all gives a basic knowledge of the technology, and that helps as well to learn about what basics in that technology. And cloud-based solution gives advanced options and advanced features what companies have been expecting. So that certification really helps for your career.
Thank you. Any other doubts, students? If you want, you can unmute and you can ask, or else you can type in the chat window. If no doubts, then we'll wind up the session. If you have any doubt, you can ask him. Okay. Now I call upon Sai Deepti to present the vote of thanks. Sai Deepti.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Sai Deepti. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, one and all gathered here on this wonderful afternoon. I would like to present the vote of thanks. It's a matter of pride for me that I got a chance to thank everyone present here. I take the golden opportunity to thank the respected chief guest of this event, Ananda Krishnan, for attending this event in his busy schedule and sharing his wonderful knowledge with us. And the cultural advice you gave us, sir. Thank you. Pleasure to thank management, principals, HODs, and dignitaries like professors, teachers, and everyone for conducting this event and guiding us for beautiful life. Thank you, one and all. Last but not the least, I would like to thank my friends for participating in this event. Without you, this event would not be a success. Thank you, buddies. Sincerely, my thanks to each and everyone who participated and made this event successful. Thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity. Have a nice day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sai Deepti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananda. Thank you. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.